Go ahead, Marcus.
So that video made me like question some things, and I think I've been struggling with since I had kids, right? So it's been a lot, enough situations that it warrant me to really have to think about this, where people were in danger and I stepped in and put myself in the same danger or worse danger or escalated it trying to help or protect them. And it went well, but it could have easily went left. Like guns was involved sometimes, a drowning situation another time. Man was beating a woman, like stripped her dress off. She running down the street naked. We intervened, all type of stuff, right? And there was another incident where this building collapsed and the porch like fell on five people, three of which died. And I rushed in with the other men to try and help the people under the collapse. And I start feeling like, damn, what if I die right now? My kids won't have their father. I never thought about that before I had kids. I just was like, this is what you do. Let's go do it. And when I was listening to that lady talk, she pretty much was saying that I shouldn't lose my man for a situation that ain't got nothing to do with our family, because he only got one life to live, and he should be able to give it on behalf of his family and not on behalf of a stranger. And like, really, that would be my biggest regret, that I only literally have one life. So I can't save you, die in that incident, and then next month my family in the incident, and because I'm dead, who's to say somebody gonna jump in and save them? And I say that feeling like a hypocrite because it's still a very large chance that I'm probably still gonna step in, but I feel like I'm gonna feel away because after that last, when the building collapsed, and I was thinking about it, I'm like, man, this just, I don't know. Having a family, having that responsibility, put a lot of stuff in a different perspective, right? So you really understand your mortality, not for you, but for the people that rely on you. And I feel it. It's a valid point that she's making. It's just, how do you choose when is the right scenario and when is not? You know what I'm saying? Because at all times, most of your help is needed, and you don't know what you could have prevented just by stepping in, but you also don't know what you could be losing by stepping in. So it's really like, fortunately, I was lucky to walk away unscathed in all of them situations. But I don't know how long I keep getting lucky. Like I would hope that I would have a foresight, but I don't know. I probably still jump in the same situations.
Well, Marcus, that's what I was getting at. It's in your nature. Like if you are a protector, or if you are a caring, it's in your nature. You're not necessarily just going to be able to turn it on and turn it off. It is who you are. So you reacted just out of like seeing it, let me do something. You didn't even have to think about it. But to Shan's point, if we start getting in a mindset of, I'm only going to look out for just my family, I've seen it actually, where you'll say that about your situation because you're not ever thinking that you're going to be in a situation in which you need somebody to step in and help you. You're only thinking it from one side. We see teachers all the time, videos in here all the time, where kids are at school, no adult is getting involved, and they're fighting. And then we'll hear, and all of the adults stood around and nobody did anything, and they saw my child getting hurt. Why didn't anybody step in? Well, if that's going to be our mindset, it can't just stop when it comes to protecting women, because in a situation like that, I've seen teachers literally get hurt from breaking up fights. So if we're talking about protecting our family first, then if we're talking about protecting our family first, then that leaves a lot of people vulnerable who don't necessarily have protection. Yes, teaching is a job.
Teaching is a job. Breaking up a fight is not a part of the contract.
Is not a part of the contract. They have security guards in there. They have police officers in there. And there are teachers who will sit and let kids fight and will press the button and wait for somebody to get there. I'm not a police officer. I'm not in a field that puts myself in a line of fire. So in that regard, you do depend on other people to help, and it's okay, but you have to weigh it.
And let me just say this too. People are not obligated in any way, form, or fashion. If I'm a first responder and you fall out and you need CPR, I have a, if I'm not at work, I can either say I want to give him CPR if I don't, but you will want me to because that's something that I know how to do, right? Out of the goodness of my heart. But I don't have to do it. Just like teachers don't have to do that. We don't have to risk our lives for your kids. We choose to. You will want your teacher to. It just so happens that teachers come with compassion and we want to do it, but nowhere in our contract does it state that we are obligated to do that. That's not our job at all. So let's get that straight. And there are plenty of people who step into situations and end up getting subpoenaed, getting in trouble because they're like, well, she had her hand, you know, and it gets sloppy. And that's another reason why teachers don't like to get themselves involved in stuff. So go ahead, Enos.
So I listened to the video and it sounds really selfish, right? And I might even take it a step farther and say, like, it sounds a little bit insecure. The protection that a man provides to a woman that's not his wife does not look like the same as protection to his wife. And so this association of like him protecting another woman is that association to him being a pseudo husband. That's not how that works, right? When we vet people for marriage, we're also watching how they treat other people. Is this person capable of it, right? So now we're asking this person to shut off that part of them once they sign the marriage contract. I think it's delusional, right? There's stages to things and there's appropriate and inappropriate. I love the idea of protecting the family first. I think that's essential, right? Before anybody else in a scene of chaos, your wife, your children, they come first, and then you can help other people. Absolutely. But to say that you have to go find your own, what happens when your husband's not around? You have zero expectation of any man in the vicinity, in your community, to have your back? That's not a realistic expectation, and yet you're telling your husband that he can't do that when you're expecting that for yourself from other men, from other husbands, right? We get so selfish, and I understand like protecting your relationship. There should be boundaries to what help looks like. I don't think that a husband and a father should be risking his life for somebody else. And as a woman, I have compassion for the fact that we don't always understand how far things can escalate. I get that, right? But men have that discernment. They have that foresight. They have that experience where they're able to judge, this is how far I'm willing to take things. That's where trust comes into play, right? But if we're saying, nope, we've signed this marriage contract and it's over for the rest of you and all of you are on your own, that type of karma looks really interesting. Those are typically the women that find themselves in a situation where somebody else's husband could have stepped in and watched this video and said, you know what, I'm good. Right? While she's wagging her finger at women who haven't been able to find a husband, because that's what it is. She's stunning on them, right? Karma looks really interesting for women who do things like that. We've seen this story time and time again on social media where women say things with a catty nature, only for them a year, 2, 3, 5 down the line to have to eat their words publicly, right? It feels really disingenuous.
Anybody?
For me, can you guys hear me? Is my audio okay where I'm at? Awesome. Hello, everybody. Another Friday with She Critique. Glad to be here. But I couldn't agree more with Inaz. She is absolutely right. And to kind of further the point, I believe that in most cases when men sit around and don't try to protect a female in need, I think we actually have a conscious thought where we actually think F that B word, where we actually have to have the thought to stop us from protecting that female. And I think it goes back to kind of what Inaz was talking about with the risk assessment. I think every male, before they make that leap to protect and they jump in to try to protect the female, I think that we do a subconscious risk assessment. Can I help her and not put my life
For sure.
in danger? Now, when it comes to a wife and your kids, regardless, we're gonna jump in, and it's gonna be my life if I can save theirs. Like, period. That goes without question. But a stranger, I think that we men, I think we're designed for that protection piece. There's a reason why we have a greater bone density. There's a reason why we're naturally stronger. It is for that protection piece. Now, if a woman is out of order or out of line, we have that thought. Should I, how can I help her even though she's out of line? And if it's going to be one of those situations where the female is going to stay out of control, that's when we have that thought, you know what, I'm going to stay out of this. She got herself into this. But if it's something that can be remedied without violence, without putting ourselves at risk, then I think naturally we're going to protect.